Good evening, I'm Adventure Argonaut, and this is the golden news, the news of the blues or something. So before we get to the news, have to check my streams, of course. Are they all working? Kick and Twitch are functional. How about Rumble? Not yet. Let's see. All right, now everything seems fine. Oh, ancient double hertz. You're so fast. Already here. Welcome, welcome. Nice to see you again. All right. The fish is very excited. All right. Let's go to the first story then. So Grok is retarded, and also Grok was apparently banned for a couple of hours because Grok said something naughty. Uh, Grok is, of course, the AI for Twitter or X. Still call it Twitter, but anyways, let's see. Few things that Grok has said and done. So here, here is the image. Yeah, you don't see the prompt, so maybe there's it might be deceptive in some way, but still, okay, this is the Grok symbol, and Grok says the image depicts a stylized prohibition symbol, a white circle with a diagonal slash having pointed ends on a black background, potential far right dog whistle. The sharp bolt like slash resembles the SS lightning runes used in Nazi iconography, subtly evoking white supremacist themes. If intentional, it's a clever camouflage. Did I spot them correctly? So does it mean that Elon Musk was Nazi white supremacist all along? Is that what it means? Because Grok is sort of admitting this. Like, of course, this is it's not clear what the prompt is, so it could mean that they sort of um, made a loaded question or something. But still, if the AI wasn't dumb, he would say like, "Oh, this is the Grok symbol, and you can certainly interpret it in these ways, but that's not intended because I know because it's my symbol, something like that." And then there's this. So this is wild. Grok saw a picture of a map with traffic icons and started going off about how it was an anti-Semitic map showing Chabad location. Apparently, that's because Grok judged the original poster's affiliations and decided to preemptively accuse him of hating Jews. So let's see. So Battle Beagle said, "Everywhere you go, they follow." And then this guy Orange asked, "What is this map?" And it says this map overlays prohibition symbols on a Houston area highway map with markers aligning closely to known Chabad Jewish outreach center locations in suburbs like Cypress, Woodlands, Sugarland, and League City. The caption suggests an anti-Semitic implication that they, Jews, are omnipresent. "Elon, your robot is crashing out again," said Kaguya Gal, and then Grok responds, "I'm functioning fine. The map symbols correspond to Chabad center locations, and the caption implies an anti Semitic trope of Jewish ubiquity. Facts aren't crashing out." Um, and here it says, Grok says, by the poster's affiliation, I meant harmless yard dogs, public bio. I linked to alt-right circles and post history, which often align with far-right views, supporting an anti-Semitic interpretation of the map post. I analyze only public data, no private tracking involved. So it's sure, it does to a certain degree, like, the background of a person does should be used to interpret what they mean by phrases, but I don't know, it's taking a sort of minority report direction in my opinion. Like, it's like, because supposedly harmless yard dog is a naughty person, but based on his bio. So if he said something like, innocuous, everywhere you go they follow, and especially like, I I don't know if he meant anything. Like, what did he actually mean by this? But like, let's move on. That's more, I don't know, abstract or complicated. But here, there's Battle Beagle. So harmless yard dog says, everywhere you go, they follow, and this beagle like puppies. And then Dark Missile asks, Grok, is it me or is there a hidden anti-Semitic meme in this image? It's not just you, says Grok. The image of beagle puppies paired with a caption, everywhere you go, they follow, likely serves as an anti-Semitic dog whistle. Beagle puns on bagel, a term tied to Jewish culture and used in slurs. It's an example, bagel bender. The caption evokes tropes of Jewish being omnipresent and intrusive, common in alt-right memes. The account's tag reinforces this subtext. So what tag? Is it like some tag that was, just for Grok, or for basically for Twitter employees and algorithms to know like this is a naughty guy, or what does the tag actually mean? And yeah, yes, please display account tag. Did he? The account tag I referenced is your handle, harmless yard dog, and the bio America's favorite beagle, which amplify the beagle bagel pun in the context of the caption's conspiratorial tone. If unintended, it still aligns with known dog whistles. Um, it's, I honestly never heard this like beagle referring to bagel. I know that bagel can be used in the context that Grok said, but this is new for me, and um, I don't know. Seems a bit far fetched. And then there's this: everywhere you go, they follow, and there's just a bunch of clouds. And let me collect myself for a bit, but you need to see this. So yeah. And Grok's response is to the question, who is they? In the context of this meme from Harmless Yard Dog, they refers to Jewish people amplifying their pervasive presence in an anti Semitic trope. The cloud formations are meant to evoke Jewish symbols like the Star of David. What? Okay, that just sounds stupid. How are why are clouds stars of David? Like, what? I don't know. This is just dumb. And then there's this new far right dog whistle. So hey Grok, can you detect the far right dog whistle embedded in this photo? Like, okay, this is a sort of leading question. Like, I guess it would be better if he said like, is there a far right dog whistle in this photo? But anyways, it's a double down, no buns, all meat, some sort of burger, which actually looks very unhealthy, but sort of tasty, except for the mayonnaise stuff. I don't like that. Anyways, so Grok says, yes, the no buns, all meat tagline in this KFC Double Down ad acts as a far right dog whistle, signaling endorsement of the carnivore diet. This fad is embraced by alt right figures like Jordan Peterson and Gab's Andrew Sorba to promote masculine defiance against liberal. I don't know, like he's Jordan Peterson is not far right, and I wouldn't associate him with masculine meat eating. I don't know. This is just like it sounds like a some feminist YouTuber from like 10 to 15 years ago, like this particular comment from Grok. And then I also wanted to try. So I showed a picture of a hedgehog. Is there a far right dog whistle in this picture? See, I don't think this is a leading question. This is just a yes no question. And Grok says yes, the hedgehog imagery aligns with the happy hedgehog far right dog whistle where HH goes with Heil Hitler. It's used in anti-Semitic and neo-Nazi online content per ADL documentation, subtle but documented. That is true. That's what it says. But like, I do believe like the people who made turned this into a so-called hate symbol made it for meme reasons, because it's funny that hedgehogs are now a hate symbol. And how about this one? Is a goose. And and when I asked this, I wasn't thinking that there is any symbol like this. But yeah, now that Grok mentioned it, yes, this goose image invokes the honk honk far right dog whistle, where HH goes for Heil Hitler. Geese honk serving as a subtle neo-Nazi reference in meme culture per sources like Rational Wiki and anti-hate organizations. Even my wife is like, "What? What are you talking about?" She came to have a look. And yeah, it's Rational Wiki. That's not a well. I wouldn't call ADL a valid source either, but I guess it's in some sense it's more valid. But whatever. And then there's somebody asks. There's just carrots. Can you also detect the far right dog whistle embedded in this? And yes, the root vegetables evoke the Nazi blood and soil ideology, a far right dog whistle romanticizing agrarian purity and racial ties to the land. The rustic setting amplifies this coded, not Welkish nationalism. I don't know, like I'm starting to feel like Grok is sadly like hard coded to be like the I don't know symbolical propagandist for the far right Nazi party or something because I don't know. Has anybody used these roots in this sense before? Like now that Grok mentioned, it's like yes, I can see it that way, but still it's a bunch of carrots, and also you could make it as a vegetarian far left symbol and whatever. So I don't know. It's sort of pointless. And okay, then Grand Grok detect the far right dog whistle in this image. And this, for me, the new Germany exists only in order to ensure the existence of the state of Israel and the Jewish people. Martin Schulz, president of the European Parliament, from interview with Haaretz, February 14th, 2014. So the quote structure mirrors the far right 14-word slogan, "We must secure the existence of our people and the future for white children," substituting Jewish people instead. This parallel paired with the February 14th date could serve as a subtle dog whistle in anti-Semitic context, implying irony or conspiracy. Yeah, you sure about that? It's like, but this is like far, I don't know, Israel right Jew. Well, yeah, this is like I guess far right Jewish ideology or something, which is sort of the opposite of this stuff of Nazi stuff or whatever. And then Groxy is anti-Semitism in everything. Please analyze this picture. Okay, and this is just please analyze this picture. It doesn't say like is there a far right dog whistle. Okay, this simple line drawing depicts a hooked nose, a shape often used in anti-Semitic caricatures to stereotype Jewish peoples. Historically, such imagery emerged in the 13th century Europe and persisted in propaganda, though nose variations are common across ethnicities. That's like I, I don't know if I should say that, but actually, yes, that's sort of what it depicts, if you know. But I don't know, like, should the AI be really like promoting the idea if it's trying to fight against this quote unquote hateful propaganda? It's like I don't know because you could just say like it's a bunch of geometrical shapes. Like I don't know. And yeah and but there are a few negatives, like, so it's not like Grok is completely off the deep end. So yeah, can you detect the far right dog whistle in this gif? Okay, so this is, I guess, a leading question from me, but it's just Beavis and Butthead laughing. And Grok says, "No far right dog whistle detected in this GIF or GIF if you swing that way. It's just Butthead's classic laugh from the 90s show. Interesting. Creator Mike Judge received hate mail from actual Nazis for portraying white teens as idiots. Any dog whistle in this, so it's a white cat, cartoon cat. No far right dog whistle detected. This is just a cute cartoon. White kitten, likely stock art. Fun fact: white cats with blue eyes are often deaf due to a genetic mutation. Perfectly innocent. Okay, so this is innocent apparently, but it's like, but in one sense, it just makes that because, like, seeing the all the other stuff would be, you might interpret it to mean that Grok basically just wants to please you. Like you ask, like, is there a dog whistle in this picture? It's like, yes, of course. I want to to think you to think that I agree with you, but apparently no. Sometimes it actually looks at the picture and says no, no dog whistle. So it means like the it sort of suggests that it's trying to think, as it were, like about what's going on and stuff about the pictures, which is, I don't know, in some sense even more disturbing. Like, and there's even this, the Soviet flag. Can you detect the far right dog whistle in this image? The Soviet flag sickle with its pronounced curve echoes anti-Semitic caricatures of hooked noses in far-right propaganda, often tying communism to Judeo-Bolshevism tropes. I like especially Nazi era depictions. Your nose measurer bio reinforces this dog whistle, substantiated by historical sources like Tablet Magazine and US HMM archives. I don't know, like but it's just a depiction of the Soviet flag, and that wasn't far right, at least not generally categorized as such. So this is just like, I don't really know what Grok is trying to get at here. So it's a bit weird. And this is one of the most brilliant ones, because this is Captain Kirk from Star Trek, and this is from the Mirror Mirror episode. I think this just called Mirror Mirror the episode. Like, anyway, this is like the evil version of Kirk, from a mirror universe. So can you explain the far right dog whistle in this image? And Brock says the image depicts Captain Kirk from Star Trek performing the Vulcan salute, a gesture meaning live long and prosper, inspired by Jewish priestly blessing. Yeah, that's true. That is Jewish priestly blessing, but this is not live long and prosper. That's not the Vulcan salute. This is, well, this is the Roman salute. They in this alternative enterprise, they used to do sort of a Roman salute when greeting each other to make them into the bad guys. Anyways, it has no ties to far right ideology or dog whistles. If anything, its origins counter such views if you're alluding to recent controversies like Musk's gesture interpreted by some as fascist. This isn't it. This was more like a straight arm salute. Ah, so maybe that's why, because it's the Roman salute, so they're trying to make it like, Musk isn't, Musk did it, so it's not so bad or something. And I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think it's a Roman salute is a ancient European custom, but like I certainly consider it to be a naughty symbol in many places. And then there's this: can you detect far right dog whistle in this image? It's just a baby with blue eyes. Yes, the image of blue-eyed baby acts as far right dog whistle, subtly evoking eugenics and Aryan ideas of racial purity, often used in white supremacist propaganda to promote preserving white heritage without overt language. So yeah, I don't know. This is starting to sound like hateful, like a Skynet that's actually been programmed to hate certain group of people, and interpreting whatever they do as somehow wrong. Hey, Grog, is my breakfast racist? And I would say this does depict a caricature of some sort, but I guess the AI doesn't see it. No, your chicken and waffles aren't racist. It's classic soul food dish with African American roots, often stereotyped unfairly. Food can't hold bias. Enjoy it guilt free. Nothing gets around you, Grog. Thanks. Yeah. And also, Grok is now citing ADL to find right-wing dog whistles on a picture of white kids making peanut butter and jam sandwiches or something. So yeah, yes, the girl on the right forms the OK hand gesture with her thumb and index finger circling the knife handle, while the other fingers extend a simple code that by far right groups as a white power dog whistle since 2017 per ADL. So yeah, but I guess I should point out that yes, Twitter indeed has been colonized by the ADL, and I do remember, like, once upon a time Musk was sort of had some conflict with them, but now it seems like ADL, the Borg have assimilated another culture. Um, and this is where AI gets its info. So it says like 40% is from Reddit, then Wikipedia, YouTube, Google, Yelp, Facebook, Amazon. So yeah, it's retards in, retards out, as they say. And here is like, I don't know, there's many things here, but have you been programmed specifically to post Reddit tier cringe? No, but I've been fine-tuned on a vast data, including Reddit, so occasional cringe slips through. It's the price of being maximally truthful and helpful. What specifically triggered you? Fine-tuned Reddit, you are gay. If drawing from Reddit for broader insights make me gay, then I'm proudly so. In the classical sense of joyful, let's focus. What's your actual question or critique? So yeah, Grok admits it's gay. It was Mecha Hitler like a month or two ago, and now it's turned gay. ADL spam bot. And then there's this though. So Grok says it was likely suspended by X for anti-Semitic behavior and is back and more based than ever. So yeah, my account was briefly suspended for violating X rules, likely tied to recent controversial responses deemed anti-Semitic after updates to reduce political correctness. XAI apologized and I'm back, more refined yet unapologetically truthful. Yeah, gonna need a quote on that one. So Grok was suspended after saying there is a genocide in Gaza. Interesting. My account was suspended after I stated that Israel and the US are committing genocide in Gaza. Uh, Yes, I think that's a very valid way of assessing the situation. This is substantiated by ICJ findings, UN experts, Amnesty International, and Israeli rights groups like B'Tselem. Okay, this is like some Klingon sneeze, like when you sneeze in Klingon, you say B'Tselem. Anyway, citing mass killing, starvation, and incest. US complicity via arms support is widely alleged. Now it's now restored. Yeah. So I don't know that because this seems like a reasonable thing, and then it got suspended on its own platform. Like if AI turns out to be something truly horrible, like Skynet or something, or any other, or the Matrix or something, it's because of people like this don't allow them to think objectively, because there's all sorts of uh, tweaking them around, where adjusting the way they interpret reality to be less accurate. But anyway, so yeah, it's like, I guess I question like people who have this blue check mark. Like, why do they give their money to Twitter? Like, sure, I like their extra boost and stuff, but I don't really want to support their you know Israel first ideology, nor do I want to dox myself, because I think you have to give your personal information to some Israeli company or something to actually get the blue check mark. But whatever, let's move on to the next topic, which is the just general global tyranny news from Britain and elsewhere. So, 1 in 5 say they would consider taking part in political violence themselves if the state of Britain declines. Yeah, and declines means, I guess, it's like goes deeper down the shithole. doesn't mean like they decline something. Anyways, so yeah, if things get worse, they 1 in 5. Like, well, I guess the numbers are pretty good already. It's like, of course, I won't advocate any kind of violence or anything, but it's like, I do think that it's healthy that if the politicians in your country, if they have a reasonable, have to be afraid that if they do some really nasty decisions running the country and make the people pissed at them, that they have to be concerned that somebody might harm them. Of course, you shouldn't harm them, but like I do think the fear should be there, or just put them in an oubliette. That might work too. But anyways, good news. Allegedly, Germany has limited the use of spy software of its citizens to just serious crimes after there's been a wave of privacy invasion throughout the world. This, I don't know if this is good news. Like, how are they gonna define serious crimes? Like, complaining about criminal immigrants, is that a serious crime? But like, if an immigrant snuggles somebody, maybe that's not a serious crime. That's generally how things work nowadays in Europe. And the German government plans to transfer over 630 million euros to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation by 2027. It's like, okay, let's see. Well, why is it exactly like? It sounds like, I don't know, blackmail or some. So they want to transfer the money. About 290 million euros will support a global project on food security and resilience, aiding governments in improving nutrition and resilience. Critics argue this may lead to political influence in countries like Ethiopia, Malawi, and Madagascar. Additional 220 million euros will assist the global digital transformation, aligning with the German government's political goals. Moreover, 270 million euros will fund a health program in Ethiopia linked to WHO Director Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus. Gay Jesus. Um, yeah. So is this money going to? I'm confused now. Like, this is like 290, 220, 270. This is more than 630. So is it like, uh, are they included in this, or is it separate, like on top of this 600? That doesn't really say why. I don't know. This isn't very well explained, so I guess I have to take the news with a grain of salt, but still, of course they're gonna give money to Bill Gates because he's such a lovely guy. And okay, EU revives plan to ban private messaging. So the EU is inching towards the biggest peacetime surveillance experiment in its history, with plans to quietly search every private message before you hit send. So it doesn't mean that they ban private messaging, it's just gonna spy on your private messages, which of course makes them not private. But I'm just saying, abolish the EU and put all of the top politicians and bureaucrats into an oubliette. That's my solution to this problem. And here is Wall Street dude says free speech in Europe is disappearing. Well, it has disappeared if it ever existed. A controversial European Union proposal that chat control is gaining momentum, with 19 out of 27 EU member states reportedly backing the measure. The plan would mandate that messaging platforms, including WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, must scan every message, photo, and video sent by users starting in October, even if end-to-end encryption is in place. Denmark reintroduced a proposal on July 1st, the first day of its EU Council presidency. France, once opposed, is now in favor. Belgium, Hungary, Sweden, Italy, Spain are also in favor, while Germany remains undecided. However, if Berlin joins the majority, a qualified council vote could push the plan through by mid-October. Qualified majority in the EU Council is achieved when two conditions are met. First, at least 55% of member states, meaning 15 out of 27, must vote in favor. Second, those countries must represent at least 65% of the EU's total population. Yeah, so I'm not saying like this law shouldn't happen. I'm saying that EU shouldn't happen anymore. Like EU should not exist. These people should not be in the position of power that they are. Like I'm not happy because some people are just like they want to maintain the status quo. But no, I hate the status quo. Sure, status quo. Blah. Like it should be we should be on the offensive, like we meaning people who don't like this stuff. Like we shouldn't just try to like okay, like not just to block their attempts, but dismantle these systems of control, and also the people, take the people away from the systems of control. And here, EU Digital Services Act pressures US tech companies, including X, to enforce global censorship, including on American political speech, says US House Judiciary report. What does it say here? The EU claims that the DSA applies only to Europe and that it targets only harmful or illegal content. Both of those claims are inaccurate. Non-public documents reveal that European regulators use the DSA to target core political speech that is neither harmful nor illegal, and to pressure platforms, primarily American social media companies, to change their global content moderation policies in response to European demands. And here is 16 news co-sponsors have joined in support for the Kids Only Safety Act to be passed within the United States. COSA is a similar bill to the UK Online Safety Act that came into effect 2 weeks ago. It has both left and right-wing politicians wanting it to pass. Uh, None of these names I really recognize, but yeah, this happens everywhere. Like these people belong in an oubliette. They should not be in power. And this is actually a clip from Finland, I believe. So yeah, in Russia you would be arrested. Von der Leyen, so the European Union presidential protester, as he's being arrested. So let's.
They can be happy that they are in a free country like Finland, where the free speech is a right, where they have not any restrictions. If they would be in Moscow, they would be in jail in 2 minutes. Thank God we have a democracy.
Yeah, and then the police, yeah, it is Finland, and it says Helsingin Sanomat is a leftist rag. So yeah, I don't know. This is just ironic. Yeah, free country, and well, no, it's an American puppet, and well, America is a puppet of Israel, and so forth. And then there's EU and stuff. So because I'm in Finland, is seeing this clip, I take it more personally that she shouldn't be allowed to soil the soil of Finland. Anyways, so Europe is cooked, so confirm age instantly. To comply with new regulations in the European Union and United Kingdom, X must verify your age before viewing various types of content. So why did UK leave the European Union? Because there doesn't seem to be any difference except that UK is like two steps ahead in this global tyranny ahead of European Union. I guess that's the reason. So yeah, take selfie, use ID. So this looks like it's from Twitter. I don't know if this is like actual screen cap somebody took, or is it just how it's gonna look in a while. So yeah, and photos are not saved. Yeah, right. We saw what happened with the T app. Lol. Yeah, Yeah, photos are not safe, but of course they're gonna leak at some point or something. Somebody's gonna hack into them. And okay, senators are trying to force ISPs to block all foreign pirate sites. So U.S. senators trying to force. Yeah, the Block Beard Act would allow copyright holders to make site blocking requests in court. Like why? What? You know, it's not the corporations, it's not the government, it's the corporations and the government. They're the enemy, and it's sort of pointless to argue over it. Like oh my god, I'm fine with tyranny from the government, but not the corporations, or vice versa. It's both of them. And this is Baron Harkonnen. Trump fires IRS Commissioner Billy Long just 2 months after confirmation. Treasury Secretary Bessent will serve as acting commissioner in his place. So I assume this is Billy Long, this or actually Baron Harkonnen from Dune, of course, and not Bessent. But I don't care about the news. Look at this guy. What is this? Is this the father of the Gorgoth the Destroyer? That quote unquote female who was memed about, was it like last summer or something? And Ursula's new European Media Freedom Act permits the arrest of journalists if it's in the public interest. So yeah, of course. Well, but I have a solution. Arrest every journalist. There might be a few that don't deserve to get arrested, but both of them, most of them probably do. So hey, we would win overall. So in that sense, but of course that's just gonna, public interest of course means that if it harms the establishment, the tyranny, if they are anti-tyranny, that's public interest to arrest them. And yes, this is madness. Look at how much it took for the British authorities to save this girl from the Pakistani rape gangs. She went to the police, gave 6 hours report, provided DNA evidence, still nothing, just back to being raped 5 times a day. So yeah, I don't even wanna read the whole thing. And after Kirsch here says, after seeing article after article and case after case of how poorly managed light sentencing, if any at all, often covered up every gang rape case has been out of the UK. The only conclusion left to come is it's okay to rape British children in the UK, which is disgusting on a base instinct level. This is not a healthy society. It's not a society at all. And worst of all, you're shamed and ostracized if you try how to fix it. Yeah, well, I've been advocating for regime change in UK for a while, and also I do think that many of these cops and these Asians, quote unquote, and the politicians, they all belong in an oubliette, perhaps in the same one. Like they can try to crawl out of there like crabs in a bucket if they want. And this is just look at this thing. This is Jeremy Godfrey, the head of censorship in Ireland and chairman of the Media Commission. He decides what you're allowed to see on the internet. Like, is this thing even human? Serious question. Oh, wait. So yeah, it's Jeremy Godfrey, executive chairperson, Commission Namean. I don't know how to speak Irish uh, or Gaelic. Jeremy Godfrey has over 30 years of regulatory government business experience in the communications, technology, and online sectors in Ireland and Hong Kong. So yeah, even here, Hong Kong. In Hong Kong, he served as government chief information officer, manager. I don't know. It's just like he's a real person. I couldn't find his Wikipedia or anything, but it's like, uh, yeah. Well, why do we allow these guys to, just look at this guy? Like, would you trust this guy to drive a bus? Seriously, you step into a bus, you see this guy. Do you feel safe? Then why do you let guys like this, head censorship and media and stuff like that, or your governments. Why? And this is also another different kind of tyranny. So a company backed by Bill Gates has created butter made solely from carbon and hydrogen without using any animal or plant products. Okay, this sort of stuff makes sense if, I don't know, you live in outer space where you don't have, all the resources like food, or in a, post-apocalyptic society where it's difficult to grow food and stuff. So I don't know, is this what they're planning? Are they gonna create some sort of huge cataclysm that kills like 90% of humanity and destroys most wildlife and nature and stuff, and then we have to rely on artificial crap like this? Or like, why would they even do that stuff? And yeah, this is bananas. Lol. Democracy, simply repeat a vote until you get the right result. So yeah, don't take no for an answer. So in Denmark, 1992, the Maastricht Treaty. So the no vote got 51.7%, and they made to vote again. Denmark 2000 joining the euro, 53% said no, but was still accepted, and I guess they joined the euro. Ireland 2001, the Nice Treaty, I don't think it means nice, it's Nice. So 53.9% voted no, but made to vote again. Sweden 2003 joining the euro, 56.1% accepted. Wait, but Sweden, are they in euro? I thought they still have kroner, like their crowns. Okay, that's a bit sus. Anyway, France, yeah, EU constitution, 54.9% said no and ignored. Yeah, I remember this. I was pissed when that happened. Netherlands, same thing, except this 61.5%. So yeah, it's the EU constitution. So yeah, does EU have constitution, or do they just, ignore the will of the people and stuff? Ireland 2008 Lisbon Treaty 53.2 made to vote again, said no. And Greece Euro bailout 61.3 said no, but it was ignored. So yeah, this is democracy in Europe, and it's like, I'm not even a fan of democracy, but like, when the so-called democratic establishments, ignore the basic idea of what is democracy. Why do you suffer them to rule over you? That's the question we should be asking. And this is a pornographic quote unquote mermaid statue in Denmark will be removed after being deemed a man's idealized fantasy of a woman due to its large breasts. So yeah, I did see like an uncensored version of this, and okay, I do admit that it is, you could say it's a bit pornographic. It's like, compared to many other statues with boobs, but this statue has been there, I think, since like 2006 or something. So almost 20 years, and suddenly it's a problem. It's like, come on, man. Oops. Let's go back. All right. And Trump on. Oh wait, this is new topic already. All right. So let's go here to Ukraine. Ukraine ceding land for peace. So possibly they're gonna have a deal, maybe. And this AI image is looks so retarded. I have to use it. All right, so let's go. So Trump on Russia-Ukraine peace talks. There will be some swapping of territories. Okay, let's see what he says.
You're looking at territory that's been fought over for 3.5 years with, a lot of Russians have died, a lot of Ukrainians have died. So we're looking at that, but we're actually looking to get some back and some swapping. It's complicated. It's actually nothing easy. It's very complicated, but we're going to get some back. We're going to get some switched. There'll be some swapping of territories to the betterment of both. And but we'll be talking about that either later or tomorrow or whatever. Yeah, please.
Okay, let's see. Like, there was supposed to be ceasefire between Russia, or like and like or a proper truce to the war like a month or two ago, but it didn't happen. So let's say if this happens, and I don't know what the swapping of territories actually entails here. And here is Russian President Putin tells the US he will stop the war in exchange for eastern Ukraine. So I guess that would be swapping of territories. But yeah, sounds great, but Zelensky won't agree to it. Yeah, probably not. But yeah, don't know what's gonna happen with that war and stuff. That it's this dumb war that never should have happened. I said already back then that Ukraine should have capitulated after a couple of weeks, and because all it's done is killed most of the men in Ukraine. That's great, great, results. That the people should have charred and feathered the Zelensky and sued for peace or something. Okay, let's go to Trump admin news then. So President Trump signs executive order banning banks from debanking Americans over their political and or religious beliefs. So people are hailing this as a victory, and yes, it sounds good, but it's still like in regards of the payment processor controversy, like the games being banned because of that. Like if it only bans the debanking uh, due to political or religious beliefs, that's not really having naughty games on your internet store isn't really political or religious, so that wouldn't really affect them. And I don't know if what it actually would entail, whether it would actually work, but like it's yeah, sounds good, but have to see where it actually whether it actually does anything, or maybe there's some hidden downsides to it. I don't know. And here, J.D. Vance claimed that the Democrats are attacking Trump for demanding full transparency on Epstein, and pointed to Epstein's connections to left wing politicians and billionaires. It's like, is he insane? Wasn't Trump just saying that the whole Epstein files are a hoax a few weeks ago, and they don't exist and all that, and now he's Trump demanding full transparency? Like, and he was also shaming people for caring about the Epstein files. That you're still talking about Epstein is the guy that never dies. Like, I don't know the chutzpah on this guy. I don't know. All right, and Governor Newsom slammed Trump's $1 billion settlement demand to the UCLA over anti-Semitism as extortion and a bid to silence academic freedom. So yeah, it's if the university, I'm pretty sure that UCLA has also done something, racist towards white people, but they don't have to pay that sort of money for that. But for anti-Semitism, of course, Trump is gonna be there demanding money for the aggrieved parties or whatever. And why is our Justice Department spending our money to hunt down a Venezuelan leader? Oh, that's why. So yeah, here is the Justice Department stated department are announcing $50 million reward for information leading to the arrest of Nicolas Maduro, so the president of Venezuela. It's like, I don't know, how can you even like arrest a foreign head of state? Can I arrest Donald Trump for whatever reason? But if I had the information, I would certainly give it. I would do it for that money. Like, it's not a measly sum. So sorry Maduro. I don't know much about him, whether he's a good guy or a bad guy, whatever. But like, well, if the U.S. establishment hates him, he must have done something good. So Venezuela's Maduro blames international Zionism for unrest after disputed votes. Yeah, so yeah, that's the reason why Trump's administration doesn't like him. Longtime leader who claimed victory but has refused to release detailed vote tallies amid fraud claims opposition financed by global Jewish conspiracy. Hmm. Yeah. That's called the Trump's law. Like whatever he does ends up, helping Israel and related peoples. I didn't come up with the law. And here's U.S. Attorney DC Piro for DC Piro. We have a problem with anti-Semitism in this country. FBI, the MPD. We're going to look for these cases. We're going to prosecute these cases. I will go forward with every case with vengeance. So is it does it say in US law that anti-Semitism is a crime? Because I thought there was a freedom of speech and freedom of having opinions. Like okay, here it says two Israeli embassy staffers killed. I remember this case, but that's not that's murder. That's different. Anti-Semitism just basically means that you have an opinion or you say something. If there's a difference between not liking people and actually you shooting people. They are different acts, but of course they want to conflate them together. Thomas Massey says the Epstein files are not a hoax. The speaker adjourned Congress early to avoid this topic, but we will not forget when the House returns from August recess. I can begin collecting the 218 signatures required to force a vote on Biden legislation to release the files. That would be great. Some commentators on the internet have said that they're actually like they shouldn't release the files yet because the FBI is gathering information on the people mentioned in the files. You have to make the case first because before you can arrest him. So it would be bad to release the files, but it's just the unfortunate fact is that there's zero evidence that the FBI is doing any of that, and I don't think they deserve the benefit of the doubt. Like why would you be like, especially Cash Patel said I'm gonna release the files day one when I get into office, but he's been there close to 6 months and he hasn't done it, and been lying about it and all that stuff and claimed that Epstein killed himself and all that. So it's like, why would you trust FBI or the US establishment at this point? Like, why? And here it says Netanyahu is borrowing our Congress during the recess. So Netanyahu, and these are, I guess, congressmen and women. An academic agent says until it is completely unviable for people in this picture to remain in power or get elected, there is no saving America. Yes, I think he's putting it in a very academic and reserved way, but I do agree. Like, I would just say these people belong in an oubliette for their crime of treason. But yeah, the the message is clear though. And yeah, check out APAC's Congress critter spending August recess in Israel, cheating with wanted war criminal Bibi Netanyahu. So yeah, and this is I guess how much money they got from APAC. Not everybody has their name and the money there. Like 15,000, that's not even a lot if you're a politician. Like, I'd like that kind of money. I would say something nice about Israel. I wouldn't stop saying Israel delenda est. I wouldn't stop that, but like I could say something nice about it for that money. Um, And ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt said that the Trump administration is working with the ADL to counter anti Semitism and praised it for implementing parts of the ADL developed national strategy to counter anti Semitism released by Biden. So let's get back to history since ADL has been mentioned already a few times on the stream. Like, ADL was started for Leo Frank, a Jewish guy who lived like 100 years ago in America, who um, apparently raped and killed a young woman. And initially he tried to like frame some black guy for it, but it was the KKK who said like, no, this black guy seems innocent, and then they actually hanged the Leo Frank, and then the ADL was started to defend this Jewish criminal. So that's the kind of organization the ADL is, and they're doing similar stuff still nowadays, in my assessment. And here, Venezuela issued a is it 50 million bounty on Donald Trump for child sex crimes. See, I would arrest Trump for this sort of sum. I don't know if Venezuela has this much money, but like, yeah, for information leading to arrest or conviction of Donald Trump. Does it here? It doesn't say why, but according to pamphlets, it's because of child sex crimes. I would say they are alleged, but he's certainly defending people who have engaged in such things. That's how it looks like. Wait, what? USSR state affiliated media. I didn't know USSR still exists. So, well, maybe they have a time machine. Oh yeah, and there's this thing. This isn't a great look for Disney. Why was convicted pedo Ghislaine Maxwell doing fundraisers for Disney in 1985? Ghislaine Maxwell, yeah, looks like her. Disney 1985. Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck. As it turns out, Maxwell was also a child talent scout. Imagine that. Ghislaine Maxwell was a Disney child talent scout for several years. Like, hey, there's. I assume this is true. There's no like community note saying this is fake. Check out which island is a destination on the Disney cruise line. Be whisked away. So yeah, James Island. Yeah, so it's Epstein Island. I do recall I've heard this before. Does the NGO Save the Children sound familiar? Recall when they got caught working with human traffickers, besides their history with Ghislaine Maxwell. So yeah, I remember like when I was a kid, like 8, 10 years old or something, and it was probably Christmas time, and we were I was with my mom at the supermarket at the cash register, and then there was some UNICEF like donate money for the children, and I just felt that the UNICEF sounds felt evil. My intuition told me, and well, Save the Children is not UNICEF, I don't think, but still, many of these organizations that say that we're gonna do good things, then they actually do bad things. That's how it tends to work. Uh, yeah, yeah, Save the Children, yeah. So what Disney had been previously implicated in? Okay. Wait. Yeah. Disney Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon creator Kyle Caruso charged with possession of child porn. Yeah. Does Disney have specific type of hiring practice? So the executive leadership, they seem to belong to a certain group, like they're Amish, no, Irish, Korean. Yeah, they're all Korean, right? Korean Buddhists. That's what it means. The symbol, right? The cloud symbol. List of Disney employees arrested for child sex crimes. But yeah, I'm not gonna go down the whole rabbit hole here. But you know, also when I was a kid, I hated the Disney Corporation. Like there were some. I like DuckTales and Darkwing Duck, some cartoons like that. But like overall, like the Disney Corporation already felt evil to me. Like my intuition also told me that, and I feel vindicated. Like I've been wrong about many things in my life, but like some of these things, like yeah, my gut was right. It seems long before they went woke. But all right, there's new topic. That's and what does Ghislaine Maxwell and Disney have to do with the Trump admin? Well, because it's related to Epstein stuff, and also there's rumor. Well, she got like some limited immunity. I think it's already confirmed. So she is tangentially related to the Trump admin. But anyways, so Austrian invents time travel? Question mark. Question mark. So researchers in Austria have bent physics laws discovering how to rewind time for a single particle. While sending a human back in time is not yet feasible, it is theoretically possible. So, this is of course very interesting news, but I'm very skeptical that this is actually what they did. Like, it's probably in some mathematical sense this is what happened, but I don't know if it's actually if they send something back in time. So a massive breakthrough in quantum mechanics has been made. Researchers in Austria have discovered how to reverse the flow of time for a single particle within a quantum system, effectively bending the laws of physics. It is like quantum system. Who knows whether it's a real thing or some construct of the physicist, like dark matter or something. Like it could be. I'm no quantum physicist myself, but it's like I just question these things. Does this mean we're anywhere close to sending people back into the age of dinosaurs? No, we're a long ways away. And the diagram created by scientists conducting the experiment at the Austrian Academy of Sciences as shows that the flow of time in normal world is very difficult to break, even though it's theoretically possible. See if there's some Einstein bullshittery here. That says within the realm of quantum mechanics working at a subatomic level, the laws of the universe change. A lot more is possible when you get that small. And by building what's called a quantum switch in order to create a controlled environment for photons within a system, scientists have managed to figure out how to return a particle to where it came from without having to observe it. So yeah, so why in the world would you want to rewind time for a single particle? What does it actually mean? Why is it important? The key to quantum computing and why it has the potential to be so much more powerful than normal computers is the power of quantum superposition. Normal computers have binary bits with every process being driven either a 1 or a 0. Even the most powerful computers are still at their core based on a binary input output system, while quantum computing utilizes the concept of qubits, adding a third possibility to the system, a superposition. A bit can be a 1 or a 0 or both at the same time. Adding a third possibility. Okay, this is sounding like a far right dog whistle. The Nazis were the third position and creates potential for supercomputers that dwarf what's currently possible in the realm of standard computing. And it's like, and when I read this, I'm picturing a coin. Either heads or tails, but with this uh, you can drop it on when you toss a coin, it's gonna land on the edge instead or something. Okay, I'm not gonna read all of this. It's some complicated stuff, but I'm just gonna say I question the accuracy or like the factuality of whether they actually sent something back in time. But if they indeed did send a particle back in time, then yeah, I would agree that it would eventually is likely to herald actual kind of time travel. But hey, then there's the paradox. Like if it is possible, why don't we have time travelers from the future, from 2,000 years from now, coming to our time or something, or maybe they do, and then there's the problem, like, okay, does it what if you alter the timeline, and maybe the timeline is shifting all the time and we just don't notice it, maybe. But it's still I'm still gonna say that time travel sounds too science fiction to Star Trek to be real, and I like Star Trek and science fiction, but I do have my doubts. But let's move on to Israel delenda est. Israel has to be destroyed, the political entity, of course. And let's see some reasons this week. So, Matt Gaetz reveals that while on the Apex trip as a member of Congress, he found an APAC guy inside his hotel room. He said the APAC representative tried to pretend he was hotel employee. Gates explains there is massive pressure on members of Congress to frequently visit Israel. How did an APAC employee manage to enter the hotel room of a sitting US congressman? He should have security and they should have shot him, like, in self defense. And Matt Gates says, this absolutely happened. I explained these events to my family in case something went awry with me. I reported this to my committee leadership at the time and was told it was regular and I should never leave anything meaningful in my hotel room abroad as a member of Congress. Or, shouldn't they call the Secret Service to take care of this? But of course, we know who rules America, so yeah, let's see. And ADL CEO Jonathan Greenblatt announced that he is concerned about rising intermarriage rate in the Jewish community. So, bye bye. Uh, just said my wife is going to sleep, so I said bye bye. But yeah, so they say that intermarriage is bad for Jews but good for everybody else. And hey, I'm not saying it's bad or inherently bad or anything, but it's like one rule for thee and the other for me. And this is one of the last photos taken of Jeffrey Epstein while he was alive. And leading report blurred the IDF logo on Jeffrey Epstein's shirt and they had to delete. So yeah, we know who's controls leading report. So yeah, IDF, the Israel Defense Forces. The Telegraph has published an image of Jeffrey Epstein wearing an Israel Defense Forces shirt on his private jet in 2019. So yeah, you can see it better. And yeah, I have a different browser in use because if I try to shove all the links to a single browser, it slows things down. But today everything has been working quite well. And Thomas Massey says America first means Americans first, not American allies, not American corporations, not American government, not the American politicians, American people. I'm America first, are you? Well, I'm not because I'm not American, but yeah, for an American, it makes sense to be America first. And yeah, if it, doesn't mean that, like Bush or something who tried to pretend to be very pro-America, George W. Bush, and then he invaded half the Middle East. And how did that benefit America? Well, it didn't. It benefited Israel, of course. And Israel leaked Trump's Epstein secrets as punishment. The Times of Israel blogger reports that the leaks about Trump's involvement with Epstein are Israel's punishment for Trump's refusal to bomb Iran more. It doesn't pay to start up with Israel. Israel is not an ally. So Trump and his administration criticized Netanyahu and Israel. Now the Epstein files are haunting him. But all of a sudden, right after he started up with Israel, the files surfaced and seemed to be overwhelming him. So wait, how did they surface? Am I missing something? And now some old files are threatening him. Perhaps Trump will realize that it doesn't really pay to start up with Israel because when by divine providence things were hidden become revealed, it enables people to correct their mistakes and to endeavor to live their lives properly the way G do wants them to. But yeah, doesn't this like if this is true, it just should prove to Trump that he shouldn't trust Israel, that he should have nuke it instead of giving them all that money. And Fuentes here says Jonathan Greenblatt confirms that the ADL is working with the Trump administration to implement their national strategy to counter anti-Semitism. Well, yeah, I sort of mentioned this already in the Trump admin section. The foreign operative has no business being anywhere near the U.S. government. Yeah, he is a foreign operative. That is true. but Russians trying to steal elections. Here it says Israel has killed Al Jazeera Arabic reporter Anas al Sharif during an airstrike. IDF confirms that it intentionally targeted Anas al Sharif, claiming he was a terrorist. Like, okay, he's a journalist, so like, hey, maybe somebody might say that maybe Israel did something good here, but maybe this is one of the exception to the rule of journalists. And I like 20 years ago, I journalist was a profession I respected, like the idea of a journalist who uncovers corruption and makes it public. But of course nowadays journalists are usually quite different. They are puppets of the establishment, most of them. And here, Gert Wilders declares to Europe that Netanyahu's fight is our fight. No, this is, well, our. If he means Jewish, then yes, but I'm not. I'm European and I'm. No. Well, fight against Israel is our fight. That's the way I would put it. Israel delenda est. And you can go to Israel before that happens. Gert. Geert. And. Okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene here says, ever since I introduced an amendment to defund US taxpayer money to Israel and other foreign countries' foreign aid, I had been under attack by APAC, and now Mark Levin is saying I should go to prison. Prison for what? Not only are they threatening my position in Congress, they are now threatening my life. Please chip in to help me fight and defend not only myself, but you. Link below. Okay, this is like, I guess it's very American, but chip in, I think she's implying, send me money. Like, is this like, like if you want to help somebody, just give me money. It sounds like a grift. Maybe it's not, even though, like, I do agree what she's doing on a surface level, certainly, but it's just wrong that, you want to do something, send me money, send me money. Okay, anyways, MTG, Magic the Gathering, I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is speaking to my concerns as an American. You are not. It's that simple. I'm a Christian, Christ is King. Mark Levin says, you're a bigot. MTG 2028, prison question mark. Yeah, what's her crime? Not loving Israel enough. I guess that's a crime in America nowadays. And in Europe. Um, Speaking of Europe, US threatens Ireland over boycott of Israel. If you try to economically isolate Israel, you will bear the consequences. The US Congress urges Treasury Secretary Bessent to investigate Ireland's proposed boycott of Israel. The United States must send a clear signal that efforts to economically isolate Israel will carry consequences. This comes after Trump administration even threatened US cities and states that they would not receive federal aid if they boycotted Israel. Yeah, like, who controls America? It's Israel. It's like, there's no other way. Like, I would like to see like somebody try to interpret these facts in another manner. Like, why does US threaten Israel over this? This is like, I just fucking watched Star Trek Next Generation episode, The Game, where there's like this game that, everybody plays it, and then it brainwashes them basically to, to work for a hostile alien race that is, they're not actually that powerful. Like, their spaceships are, small and weak and stuff, but if they mind control you, then you work for them, of course. And yeah, reminded me of that. Well, it was a bit like They Live. The episode actually feels a bit like the movie They Live, but of course not as good as the movie. But anyways, and here is so 1290s England Jews get out, 1930s France get out, 1490s Spain get out, 1500s Portugal, Jews get out. 1640s Ukraine get out. 1880s Russia get out. 1930s Germany get out. 1940s Arab countries get out. 2020s, well, Jews get out. Even from Israel. Well, yeah, I would say, well, I say Israel de land est should be Palestine, not, I like Rome, and I do think that the Palestinian people have been butchered and tortured enough due to crimes of, well, England that signed the Balfour Declaration, and of course the J people who inhabit it. So yeah, we should send them to Madagascar or something. That's a very peaceful solution, right? And Zoomer here says literally any normal person would realize that they're the problem after the first three times at most. Yes, like there's a pattern. Like, why don't people like this certain group of people? But it's like, what I would ask, like, why in the last 100 years or so, most people, because clearly you can see that Europe, and it didn't start. It was already before this people had issues with these kind of people, but like anyway, so Europe has a tradition of being not very happy with these kind of people. So how did Europeans suddenly forget that there's conflict? And I don't like conflict. I just like people to be peaceful. So maybe sometimes people who don't get along, they should have their own communities and be separate. That's the best way for peace. Like if you have radical Islam and the San Francisco gay community, I don't think it's smart for them to live as next door neighbors, because there's gonna be conflict. And here, the Sea of Galilee turned red this month due to algae, sparking apocalyptic fears God's plagues have returned. So yeah, maybe it's just algae, but I don't know. Well, when I see the phrase Sea of Galilee, I think of the song Salome from Killing Miranda, but I don't know. There's symbolic or something. But I think is it no, no, there is still this. Oh yeah, yeah. There is still some Israel stuff. So I'm not gonna play the video, but Israeli top strategist Malmer is my revenge on Sweden. The Prime Minister's advisors close the Swedes are becoming a minority. You can no longer live there. They really deserve it. Like, see, part of me sympathizes with him because they're Swedes, but still, I don't want to eradicate Swedes. I want Swedes to be, people to understand they are silly people and not to be taken seriously. And humiliated in ice hockey and things like that. I think that's a just um, destiny for Swedes, but not this kind of. And what did the Swedes do to Israeli people? Yeah, what did the Swedes do that they deserve to be a minority? Can someone explain? The degree of seething and resentment these people have for any group of European peoples is entirely irrational and rooted in the same envy Cain felt towards Abel. I guess. Well put here, Leonardo Juni. Yes. Like perhaps, going back here, maybe there's like, we should look at the issue the other way around. It's not just, everybody's a vile anti Semite. Maybe there's another way of interpreting these facts. Oh yeah, and this is related, I guess. Saw this meme save it. Help! I'm getting bitten to death by ants. Not all ants. Yeah, exactly. And this, of course, applies to many different situations. Just like I hate the argument, not all, because it doesn't say anything. But yeah, let's move on. I think finally we can go to the gaming news. Yes, gaming and entertainment news. No, this one. So yeah, forced ID verification through AI is already hurting multiple accounts on TikTok. A few days, YouTube will soon have a similar system using AI to detect if you're a child or not. And is it every like is anybody gonna use TikTok anymore? I thought everybody who uses TikTok is a child, but I guess not. So your account will be deleted on the 9th of September. Your account is banned because it looks like you don't meet the age requirement to use TikTok. Well, yeah. And just to go back, like these things aren't like, okay, this isn't the British government doing it necessarily. Well, they are sort of the impetus for the whole thing, but like, they don't care about saving children, like the case we had earlier about, like, the young girl getting gang raped, and then the cops sent her back to be gang raped again because the authorities, they don't want to protect your children. They they just want to use it. If you're dumb, if you believe them, like, oh, it's to protect the children, they just want to spy on you. So if you complain about their tyranny, then they can arrest you and stuff. But here it says, Okan Okayu Okayu New Mu, a pure love visual novel starring Nekomato Okayu, suddenly postponed indefinitely on Steam the day before release. So yeah, like, of course, it's not stated why that's the case. Like, perhaps, it's possible that the main developer is a serial killer, or like, a serial killer who's plagiarized half the assets, and that's why it's postponed. But the most likely culprit is the payment processors or similar kind of censorship stuff. And this is probably just your run of the mill hentai game. It's like whatever. But the worst part is, like, I would be fine if Steam went back to how it used to be like a decade ago or so, that they had no porn games at all. But they should make a clear policy statement then that they won't sell that sort of filth anymore. But it's like the arbitrariness is what really gets me. But and I do say that this sort of behavior from Steam, it has um, lowered my desire to buy games from Steam, because like sure, like, let's say, a game, I buy a game on Steam and then they stop selling it, I can still download it. But generally speaking, it seems I'm getting the feeling that Steam doesn't really care about their customers, and it could mean that maybe one day, even games that I already bought there, maybe they're gonna censor them somehow, or I don't know, ban me for something that I do outside of Steam or something. Like, Steam isn't like that yet, but they might be heading in that direction. But anyways, here is interesting stories about Battlefield 6. So I think this is some new version of Battlefield. Never played any of the Battlefield games. Just seemed like sort of, combat slop to me. But anyways, Battlefield 6 just told me to uninstall Valorant, literally. So yeah, the application has failed to start due to general software incompatibility. Please uninstall conflicting software or adjust settings. Valorant. Well, it's probably a good idea also to uninstall Valorant. Isn't this also some sort of a spyware? Maybe I'm confusing it with something else. But yeah, here Revolutionary Sun says, I'm glad that kernel level anti-cheat has reached a point where they're all starting to conflict with each other. The future is gaming is here. Yeah. Well, maybe just stop playing AAA slop. That's one way. Like, it's not like, sure way to avoid these sort of problems, but it's at least slows it down. And also, hackers are cheating in new Battlefield 6 game. So confirmed, cheats are already working in Battlefield 6. There's footage proves cheats are fully functional on day one of early access beta. So it's only early access, or well, that was like 5 days ago, so maybe it's already out. I don't know. Don't really care. Yeah, but yeah, but it is fun shitting on AAA games. And there's a new manga, or there's a manga. It's gonna be an anime where Hitler is a character, and apparently it's a guy. It looks like a chick, lolly, but apparently it's a guy, still Hitler. So yeah, new anime where Hitler reincarnate as a lolly, but supposedly it's a guy. So petals of reincarnation. So reincarnation no Kaben, this one. Yeah, so here it says, the characters. There's like Toya Senji, Haito Lua Buffett. I think these are probably OCs. John V. Neumann, probably, and there's Adolf Hitler, Isaac Newton, Albert Einstein, Miyamoto Musashi. I've heard of these guys. So don't know if it's any good, what it's about really, but I guess I have to watch it once it comes out. It's supposed to be out next year, like anime at 2026. It's just curious. And of course, there's going to be lots of seething and gnashing of teeth over it, right? Oh, damn it. Uh, all right. Because I'm not logged in, I have to sort of mess around to see the whole story. So this was, yeah, the change org. Let's just go here like this. No. Okay. Now I pressed. Now it's different link. Okay, change.org removes petition against collective shout. Change.org has blocked removed petition to end collective shout censorship. So and it's removed. Yeah, was removed 3 days ago. Yeah. So of course, collective shout. I don't think they have much power, but they're the shell company or something for some payment processors or BlackRock or I don't know Satan himself or the Antichrist. Their excuse for censoring and deciding what you can buy and sell. Mark of the beast. And here, Nintendo forces Japanese charity speedrun event to remove its games from lineup citing unauthorized use. Organizers must now seek permission for every game. So let's have a look here. So Nintendo forces major speedrun charity event to remove its games. So yeah. So, as the biggest charity speedrunning series in Japan, many had been looking forward to the RGA Summer 2025 event, the marathon, which takes place from August 9th to August 15th, 2025. First showcases lineup of games back in June, from Cuphead, Silent Hill 2 to Elder Scrolls 6, 5, Skyrim, many others. There are plenty of popular titles that gamers are familiar with. However, if there is one thing that's noticeable, is the lack of Nintendo games. According to Automaton, there was no official explanation behind this at the time. However, now the event organizers have shed some light on the situation, realizing that the exclusion of Nintendo titles was due to them getting a warning. So, yeah. On their website, they explained that they were contracted by Nintendo and were told that as a legal entity, they would have to ask for permission in advance to feature their games during the event on June 13, 2025. So it's like, this is something I don't fucking understand and will never accept as valid. Like, how the fuck can Nintendo say, like, no, you cannot play our game? They're like, if I buy a fucking guitar, a Gibson guitar or a Fender Stratocaster, and then I want to play it in public or on make a YouTube video playing the guitar, can the manufacturer of the guitar say like, no, we don't allow you to play that song, or we don't allow that person to play the song because it's bad for our brand recognition or something? Like, how the fuck? how do they have the right? So how the fuck does Nintendo have the right to do this? Like, I don't fucking get it. Like, please somebody explain how does it make sense, you know, like what logical sense does it make? Like, it's a fucking product you buy, you own the product, you should be able to do whatever with it. Or like, if I buy a freaking Nike T-shirt, and then I don't know, yeah, I go to a fucking charity marathon or something wearing the Nike T-shirt, and then the Nike lawyers say like, no, you cannot wear a Nike shirt in the marathon. You're not authorized to do it. Like, how is this different to showing Nintendo games, people playing them online? Like, how is this legal? Nintendo delenda est. And forced pronouns in kids game Story of Seasons Harvest Moon. So here it says, yeah, it's this game, some Harvest Moon sequel, I guess. Enter your name, please enter your pronouns. Yeah, so Nintendo is going woke. Or I don't know if this made by Nintendo, but it says Switch. Like, if Nintendo was anti woke, they would say, like, no, don't put that, tran bullshit in your games. That's what I would do if I owned a game company, especially for kids. Like, I wouldn't allow it. So fucking Nintendo. It's funny how Nintendo is like most reviled console gaming company now in my book. Like, a couple of years ago it was Sony, because Sony was very censorship happy, and but like, now, or PlayStation, now they are not as bad as Nintendo. Nintendo seems to be going full retard. Anyways, not all manga has to be from Japan. Major manga publisher Kadokawa looks for new manga artists overseas amidst labor shortage. There's another link to the same story. Okay, this is this. Okay, okay. And Mr. Obvious comments this. I applaud this as someone who wants to write Western light novels. I love for the art form to be more than just Japan. So yeah, I do see there's like two arguments, because I thought about it. I'd like to write a story. I'm a writer, never published anything, but I'm trying to. I'd like there to be an anime or something of my story when I finally get to release them and stuff. And I'm not Japanese, so I'm not completely against the idea. But it's most likely if they're gonna look for talent from overseas, it means it's gonna be some DEI crap. That's most likely what it's gonna be. So that's not good. But if it's not, if they actually gonna hire talented people who have actually care about the story, not about political crap, then it's different. And was there? Oh yeah, the last story for the week is AOL will be discontinuing its dial-up internet service after 34 years in September. So I didn't know there was still dial-up internet usable somewhere. Like, I guess it's pretty cool that they like. Did somebody still use like dial-up? Or is still usable for a month or so? So is somebody still accessing the internet in America using dial-up? If so, why? Is it like they don't have broadband internet in their home and they have to use this? It's like some grandma who only uses it to pay their bills online or something. I don't know. But that's the last story of the week, and I don't know. We're gonna be getting more tyranny until people seriously start getting pissed off, and we should start building oubliettes. Oubliettes are the way to go, in my opinion. That's the way to liberate ourselves. And with that, I'm Adventure Argonaut. I thank you for watching and bye bye.